All right, so think about like your last trip, you
Mm-hmm.
know, whether it was just across town or like to a whole new city. I bet an app like Didi or Uber or Lyft like probably play at least some kind of part in it, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
It's crazy how they've just become such like a fundamental part of just how we all move around now, you know?
totally. It really is amazing how quickly they've just become like, well, essential.
Like essential,
I
yeah.
mean, it's worth thinking about for a sec. Like, you're basically putting a ton of trust in a service that you access through, like, your phone.
Through your phone.
Yeah, so that kind of brings us to like the core of what we're diving into today.
Exactly,
Like
yeah.
what actually like builds that trust that you have, in these platforms, and what could potentially make you go from just being a passenger to like someone who actually actively supports them.
Yeah, like a true believer.
Yeah, exactly.
And for this deep dive, we've got this like really fascinating study that like really gets into the nitty gritty of it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's based on these in-depth conversations with ride-hailing users and then like a broader survey. So it's not just like speculation. It's about understanding like the direct experiences and opinions of people just like you.
Okay, very cool. So we're talking real people, real experiences.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right. So our mission here is to kind of unpack the subtle signals that these platforms are sending out. Like,
Yeah.
how do they cultivate that like super crucial trust that makes you feel comfortable and secure using their services, right?
Right.
And then what are like the elements that might inspire what the researchers call customer citizenship behavior, which essentially means like turning you into a passenger defender.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
Yeah, so we're looking at what motivates you to like engage with these platforms, beyond just like paying for a ride.
Yeah, beyond the transaction itself, right?
Exactly.
I'm intrigued. Let's dive in.
Okay, so the research highlights several key signals that these ride-hailing platforms use to kind of build that trust with you. The first one, and probably the most like immediate one for you in any ride, is service quality.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What's so fascinating here is like what service quality actually like encompasses in this context, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's more than just like a clean car showing up, right?
And it's not just a clean car.
It's like the entire experience of the service, like meeting your expectations.
Right, and that includes like the driver's conduct, of course, but also like how clean the car is and how like user-friendly the app is.
Yep.
Think about how easily you can like book a ride and track your driver.
Uh-huh.
And even like how effectively their customer support resolves any issues that might come up.
Right. It's a lot of different factors all playing together.
Yeah. It's that whole end-to-end experience from when you like first tap the app on your phone to when you actually reach your destination.
All right. I mean, it makes total sense that if your rides are like consistently smooth and reliable, you're just going to have more confidence in the platform as a whole,
Right.
Like it just builds up over time.
Makes you feel good about using it. One participant in this study said it pretty simply. They said, in general, whether to trust or not depends on my experience. If I feel that my ride-hailing experiences are good in terms of quality, I will trust it. Straight to the point. Pretty direct, right?
Yeah. But, if we kind of connect this to like signaling theory, which is what the study uses consistently high service quality, it acts as like a strong positive signal.
Oh, interesting.
It tells you that the platform is dependable,
There you go.
it's capable, which just naturally reduces any hesitations you might have about using it. Think of it this way, like every positive ride you have, it just reinforces that signal of quality.
Like it's another vote in the plus column.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Now, the second key signal that they pointed to is something called structural assurance, which might sound a little technical,
Right.
but it really boils down to the behind-the-scenes measures that give you like a sense of safety and
Ow.
security.
Structural assurance basically refers to all the guarantees and regulations and promises that these platforms put in place to ensure that you get a secure and reliable ride. So, like think about the safety features they have right in the app, or like the processes for like vetting the drivers, making sure they're good drivers.
Right, background checks and all that.
Yeah, exactly. And like their insurance coverage, all this kind of like institutional frameworks that are designed to protect passengers.
To make sure that everything goes as smoothly as possible.
Exactly. And you can think of structural assurance as like the platform's like silent promise of safety.
Right, because you don't really see it until you need it, right?
Exactly. But it's there working in the background.
Yeah, all those behind-the-scenes measures like the driver checks and the transparent insurance policies, they're crucial because they're addressing like your like fundamental anxieties about just stepping into a stranger's car.
Right. Like, who is this person? Am I going to be safe?
Exactly.
And those things help address that.
The study mentioned one participant who was concerned about how platforms respond to what they call vicious incidents. And they noted that the thoroughness of the platform's policies and regulations, like, signal their commitment to customer safety.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's not just about what happens during the ride itself, but like the broader system that the platform has established.
Right, it's the whole picture.
That kind of transparency and commitment to safety
Mm-hmm.
definitely fosters trust.
Absolutely. I mean, while service quality is about the positive experiences that you directly have, structural assurance is about the platform showing you that they're committed to managing potential risks and ensuring your well-being, even if like something unexpected happens.
Right. It's about them taking responsibility.
Yeah, and it signals to you that they've thought ahead.
Yeah.
They've anticipated potential problems and that they have systems in place to handle those problems if they arise.
They're not just hoping for the best.
Exactly. They're prepared.
Okay, so we've covered service quality and structural assurance. The third trust-building signal the research points to is platform reputation. And this one feels pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah, pretty much platform reputation is essentially how the platform is generally perceived by the public, based on their competence and their past performance.
Correct, their track record.
Exactly. And this is often reflected in things like its popularity and, the reviews that you see online.
Like if all your friends are using it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or if it's got like tons of 5-star reviews.
Right.
If a platform has like a really widespread reputation for being reliable and efficient, you're just more likely to trust it from the start.
Makes sense.
It's like choosing a restaurant, based on like consistently good online reviews.
Yeah, I totally do that.
Right.
You're relying on the collective experiences of other users to kind of inform your own decisions
Yeah, exactly.
and to build like an initial level of trust.
Right. It's like a shortcut.
One quote from the study said, "I tend to choose platforms with a larger scale or a better reputation, considering how they handle negative news, and the word of mouth is also important."
Makes sense.
That really captures the essence of it.
It does. Yeah, when there's like an information gap, meaning you don't have complete knowledge about how reliable a platform is beforehand, a strong positive reputation, it acts as like a really powerful indicator of their capabilities and their trustworthiness.
It fills in the blanks.
Yeah, it helps to bridge that gap of uncertainty.
Now, the study also looked at another kind of firm-related signal, and that was the size of the platform.
Okay, interesting.
So initially, the interview data suggested this might be important with participants, mentioning like the large number of drivers and users as a key factor in their decision.
Mm-hmm.
But then like the survey data didn't actually show a significant direct link between platform size and trust.
Oh, so there's like a disconnect between what people say and what the data shows.
Yeah, it's interesting, right?
Yeah, for sure. So how did the researchers explain that?
They offered a couple of explanations. The first one was that while a large network, might imply like greater availability of rides,
Uh-huh.
it could also be associated with like increased organizational complexity, which might actually like dilute the trust building effect.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like bigger isn't always better, right?
Right.
Sometimes it can be more complicated.
And the second explanation was that in a market where a few like huge players dominate, which is where this study was conducted, passengers might not perceive like substantial differences in size between the main options.
Right, they're all pretty big already.
Right. So while you might like intuitively think that a bigger platform is more reliable,
Right.
in reality, when like all the top players are already pretty big, it might not actually be a primary factor that's influencing your trust.
Interesting. So it's not as simple as it seems at first glance.
Yeah, it really makes you think about what truly matters beyond just the sheer number of cars on the road,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
So to recap, trust is built through consistently good service, the safety and security measures they have in place, and a positive public reputation.
Okay.
Now let's move on to the second part of our deep dive, which
Yeah.
is what makes you want to be more than just a fair man?
What makes you a fan?
Exactly what encourages this passenger defender behavior.
Right.
The study identified 4 key ways that you might exhibit this, which they call customer citizenship behavior, or CCB.
Okay, so what are these behaviors we're talking about?
These are like voluntary actions that you might take that go beyond just like using the service.
So it's like going above and beyond just taking a ride.
Exactly.
Okay.
The first one is recommendation, that is like telling other people about a positive experience you've had with the platform.
Oh, yeah, word of mouth.
Have you ever had like such a good ride that you like recommended that specific service to a friend or family member?
Oh, yeah, for sure. If I have a driver who's like super courteous and gets me to my destination quickly and safely, or if the app is just like working flawlessly, I'll definitely tell people about it.
It's like you want to share that good experience. you know?
Yeah, totally. It's almost like a natural response when something's really good.
Exactly.
Oh,
The second aspect of CCB is what they call forgiving behavior.
okay.
And this is basically about being understanding towards like minor negative experiences and not like immediately switching to a competitor.
Oh, yeah, like giving them a second chance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have you ever like experienced a slight delay or like a minor inconvenience with the app, but decided to like use the platform again anyway?
I think we've all been there, right?
I think so.
Like maybe a bit of traffic causes a delay or the app has like a little glitch if it's not a major issue. And if my overall experience with the platform has been good, I'm probably going to give them another shot.
Right, like they've earned it.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember one time my driver took a slightly longer route than expected. My first thought was like, oh, come on. But then I remembered all the like reliable rides I'd had with that platform before, and I figured, there might have been like a legitimate reason for the detour.
Right, you cut them some slack.
Yeah, that past positive experience definitely gave them some leeway.
That's a perfect example of forgiving behavior in action.
The third element is providing feedback.
Okay.
And this means sharing both positive and negative experiences with the platform to help them improve.
Right, so it's not just complaining, it's about giving constructive criticism too.
Exactly. So do you ever leave like ratings or comments after a ride?
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially if something really stood out,
Ooh.
whether it was like amazing or just like noticeably bad.
Right.
It feels like my way of like contributing to the overall quality of the service.
It's like you're helping them get better.
Yeah, not just for me, but for everyone else who uses the platform too.
Exactly. And that highlights like how valuable your feedback can actually be.
It's true, they use that data.
The final dimension of CCB is participating in research.
Okay.
This could be like taking surveys or engaging in other research initiatives that the platform might do.
Okay, so like being a part of their studies and stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Have you ever taken a survey from a ride-hailing app?
I think I have, yeah. Especially if they offer a little incentive, like a discount on a future ride.
Right.
It makes me feel like my opinions could actually like influence how they run things.
Yeah, like you're part of the process.
Exactly. By
Yeah.
participating in their research, you're actively helping the platform understand like what you need and what you prefer.
You're shaping the future.
That's right.
So to recap, those 4 passenger defender behaviors are recommending the platform,
Uh-huh.
being forgiving of minor issues, providing feedback, and participating in their research.
Got it.
So what like bridges the gap between that initial trust that we talked about earlier and these like passenger defender actions?
Right, like what's the connection there?
Exactly. The study emphasizes the critical role of something called customer company identification, or CCI.
Okay, so what is that exactly?
CCI basically refers to that feeling of like positive and emotional connection that you as a passenger might develop with the platform's values and like their overall concept.
Right, so it's like more than just a business transaction. Exactly.
It's about feeling a sense of alignment with what the platform represents.
Gotcha.
And the research indicates that trust is often like the foundation for this identification.
Right, just leads to identification.
So if you trust a platform to consistently provide like reliable service and prioritize your safety, you're more likely to feel a connection to their broader mission.
So it's like you believe in what they're doing.
Yeah, it's not just about getting from point A to point B. It's about feeling like you're engaging with a service that aligns with your own values.
Right, like you're on the same page.
So it's more than just convenience if I trust a platform and I feel like they share some of my values, like maybe around efficiency or like user-friendliness.
Yeah.
I'm way more likely to feel a sense of loyalty to them that goes beyond just like the practicality of it.
Right, it's about the bigger picture.
Exactly. And that feeling of connection, that's what drives those passenger defender behaviors.
So the more you identify with the company, the more likely you are to recommend them. Forgive them, give them feedback, and participate in their research. It's like you're invested in their success.
The study also had this other really interesting finding. They discovered that larger, more reputable platforms see a stronger connection between your trust and your sense of identification with them.
That's interesting. So bigger companies might actually have an advantage when it comes to building that emotional connection with their users.
It seems that way.
Yeah.
What do you think accounts for that?
Well, what's really interesting here is that it suggests that like capability plays a big role in fostering that deeper emotional connection.
Okay.
So while you might trust a smaller platform based on like their consistently good service, identifying with a larger, more reputable platform, it could tap into like a sense of being associated with like a more established and successful entity.
Well, like you're part of something bigger.
Exactly. And their scale and their strong reputation, they can act as like more powerful signals of their long-term reliability and their ability to uphold their values consistently.
So it's like they've proven themselves over time.
Yeah, and that can lead to a stronger sense of identification among users who already trust them.
It's like a virtuous cycle.
Exactly.
So to bring it all together, it seems that ride-hailing platforms build trust with you by prioritizing the quality of your rides,
Hmm.
ensuring your safety and security through their underlying systems, and cultivating a positive public image.
Right.
And while the size of the platform might seem important at first, it's not actually as direct a driver of trust as these other elements.
Yeah, that's what the research showed.
And that trust, in turn, can lead you to feel a stronger connection with the platform, to identify with its mission and values. And this identification then fuels those passenger defender behaviors.
Right. Recommending the platform being understanding when they mess up, providing feedback, and participating in their research.
And it's really interesting how that link between trust and identification is even stronger for the larger, more well-regarded platforms.
Yeah, it really highlights how important it is for these companies to not just deliver a good service, but also to build a really solid and respected presence in the market.
It's about the whole package.
Yeah, exactly.
So this raises like a really compelling question for you, our listener. Think about the ride-hailing platforms that you use the most. Which of these trust building signals the quality of the service, the structural assurances, or their overall reputation resonates the most with you?
Yeah, and what would make you feel an even stronger connection to their mission? Maybe even inspire you to become one of those passenger defenders.
It's a fascinating thing to think about is we all become increasingly reliant on these transportation services.
Yeah, it's a relationship that's constantly evolving.
For sure.
It'll be interesting to see where it goes from here.
Absolutely. All right, that's going to do it for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.